Hello, happy Friday, BACC. This is Rachel. I'm a physical therapist and Pilates instructor at Agile Physical Therapy here in Palo Alto. Welcome if you're joining for the first time. I think we had a couple of new names on our roster in the last couple of weeks, so welcome. Just a little reminder throughout class, if there are things that are demonstrated or being shown in the class that do not feel appropriate for you and your body and your current situation, please feel free to stop, do what feels appropriate for yourself, even if it's something other than what we've been working on together in class. I will absolutely do my best to offer a few different options as far as level of difficulty goes, but you're also welcome to message me after class if you have any questions. My email is Rachel, Rachel, at agilept.com. But let's get ourselves moving. We're going to start standing on our mats with our feet hip width apart. Heels will be lined up with our sit bones behind us. We're going to settle into our feet and get our center of gravity aligned right over the front of that ankle joint on either side. We want to picture a string at the crown of the head drawing us up to the ceiling, nice and light on our feet. And we want to picture that tailbone stretching straight down to the floor. So there's a little sense that there's a bit of space between each vertebra and a little bit of space between each transition where your head and your neck meet, your neck and your middle back, your rib cage and that low back, and then where that low back and that pelvis come into contact with each other. We're going to roll our shoulders back a few times. We'll take some big circles up, back, and down for 4, for 3, for 2, and for 1. We're going to anchor those blades down, feeling some muscles working underneath those armpits. And let's take our hands now right to the front of our bodies, right to that midsection. We're going to shift our weight toward our toes and then toward our heels, keeping the whole foot anchored into the floor. Shift it forward, shift it back. As we move, you should feel a little bit of a change in activation of those muscles in your waistline area and that abdomen. You might feel some tightening, some movement in that area as we shift forward and back. We're just changing our orientation versus gravity, which makes those muscles work a little bit differently. Let's shift our weight back to the center over the front of that ankle joint. And now we'll shift from foot to foot and move those fingertips. So the fingertips are at the front of the waistline and those thumbs are at the back of the waistline. As you shift your weight from foot to foot, if we move that body in one line, you'll feel your waistline working a little bit differently when you shift toward one side versus the other. You'll feel those muscles kind of turn on and turn off. Now we can make some circles around that base of support. Feel those core muscles kick in a different position as you shift your weight over different parts of your feet. Let's pause and we'll circle the other way. Feel it kick in that reverse direction. Circle for 4, for 3, for 2, and for 1. Let's bring that weight right back over the front of those ankle joints. We're going to take our feet a bit apart from each other. This time we're going to point our toes slightly out to the sides. We'll keep that body upright, string at the crown of the head coming up to the ceiling, tailbone pointing down to the floor. Let's soften up our knees. We'll take a big breath in, reach those arms up. Exhale through the mouth, arms come down by our sides. Inhale, arms come up and overhead. Let's bring those arms out on a nice V with the fingertips pointing up toward the ceiling and those armpits drawing down toward the floor. We're going to tighten the belly gently back toward the spine and take a few tall side bends. We're going to side bend toward one top corner of the room, and then we'll come up and over and side bend toward that other corner. Let's take it side to side like a tree swaying in the breeze. Feel your muscles on that top side, the side we're moving away from. Feel them activate in that trunk to help keep you supported as we sway side to side for 4. Switch for 3. Press those feet into the floor as we switch for 2. And then we'll side bend to the other side one final time before coming up nice and tall. Let's bring those arms down by our sides and we're going to take a quarter turn so we're facing lengthwise along our mat. We can step back toward the back edge of our mat here. Let's soften up those knees again. Feet are a little bit wider than our shoulders now. Make a nice solid base of support. We're going to take our hands right to where our hips and pelvis fold into each other. And let's tip that body forward. We're going to tip that trunk forward until we feel the first bit of stretch, first bit of stoppage behind the thighs. So we're going to feel it from the back of the knee all the way up to those glutes. Pause there, keeping the hands on the hips. Let's bend and straighten our knees a bit. We're wiggling into a little bit of mobility for the back of the thighs. We could think about drawing that belly up toward the spine a little bit to support your trunk. Wiggle for 4, for 3, for 2, and for 1. We're going to hold here, take a big breath in. And as we exhale, let's let those arms swing down toward the floor. Soften them up, swing them around, almost like you're swinging a rope or like you're an elephant moving its trunk. We're going to let those arms settle down toward the mat. And with that belly drawn in, we're going to squeeze our shoulder blades, row those elbows back up by the trunk, and then let them stretch to the floor. Squeeze and row. Arms come to the floor. Squeeze and row again. Bring them down. Squeeze for 4 and 3. Last 2. Last 1. We're going to reach those hands to the floor. Let's take a big breath in. As we exhale, bend those knees as much as you need to get your hands down to the floor. And we're going to make our way down to hands and knees. Let's draw that belly up to the ceiling. We're going to move through a few cats, curl, looking toward those thighs, and then control and reverse it to cow. Send that tailbone toward the ceiling, look forward. Curl to cat, reverse to cow. One final time here, curl to cat, reverse to cow. And we'll take our weight right back to a neutral position, mid-back lined up with crown of the head, lined up with that sacrum. We're going to take our feet together, bring our knees apart, and let's take that bottom back toward the heels. We can walk our hands toward the front of the mat. You find the stopping point, just like we did with our forward bend. We're going to find the natural stopping point where we feel a little stretch or resistance to movement through those shoulder blades. And we're going to lower our forehead down toward the floor best we can. With full mobility, that the elbows and ears will be lined up with each other. We'll take a big breath here. Exhaling, bend those elbows, place your forearms on the mat. We're going to shift our weight over the forearms and take the legs back behind the body until we're resting on our upper thighs, just above those kneecaps. That belly stays drawn up toward the spine, and we're going to press our shoulder blades toward the floor. If you do need a little more support for those arms, you can take a little bit more of your thigh and press it into the floor. We can even keep those hips down on the mat here. Keep that belly drawn in to support your trunk. And we're going to squeeze those shoulder blades together behind the back. Let the breastbone come toward the floor. And then reverse that, press those blades to the floor. Squeeze together behind the back, press toward the floor. Squeeze and press, squeeze and press. Here's 4, here's 3. Squeeze and press for 2. And last one, squeeze, press them forward, take a big breath in. Exhaling, we'll bring our upper bodies down to the mat. Let's roll to our backs. And we'll take our hands down to the floor beside us. Palms are pressing into the mat. Let's bend up the knees, lining our heels up with our sit bones. So the shins are nearly vertical here in this position. From here, we're going to nod the chin gently down toward the neck, lengthening through the back of the spine. And let's picture that belly button drawing gently back toward the spine, like we're tightening that seatbelt of muscles that we talked about in the very beginning of class, tightening those muscles between our 2 hip bones, which are pointing directly up to the ceiling, like two little headlights. Let's picture a clock face on that trunk and abdomen, 12 o'clock by the breastbone, 6 o'clock by the pubic bone, 3 o'clock to the wall farthest from our screen, 9 o'clock toward the screen. We're going to rock our pelvis between those 4 clock face positions. Curl the pelvis toward 12 o'clock, sending that pubic bone shortening toward the breastbone. We'll lengthen and reverse to 6 o'clock, letting that low back arch just a bit, comfortable range. Curl to 12, lengthen to 6, curl to 12, and lengthen to 6. Let's come right back to neutral. That belly stays engaged and drawn toward the spine. We're going to rock our pelvis toward 3 o'clock. Take that hip farthest from the screen, anchor it into the floor as that opposite hip rotates up toward the ceiling, 3 o'clock. Move it back through neutral, and now we'll draw that hip closest to the screen down to the mat as that 3 o'clock hip comes up toward the ceiling. Let's rotate and switch through 3 o'clock to 9 o'clock, keeping those shoulder blades on the floor. Again, 3 o'clock to 9 o'clock. One final time, we'll rock it to 3, rock it to 9. Coming right back to the middle, we'll find our neutral. Maybe there's a little curve in the back here when we're resting on our backs. We're going to draw that belly down toward the spine, bring one knee up to tabletop position. Shin is parallel to the ceiling. And keeping that belly drawn down, let's lift up onto our toes first, and then we'll bring that second knee up to meet us in tabletop. Let's reassess the situation once we're here. If you feel any strain in your lower back, I want you to bring your knees a little closer to your chest, and maybe think about tucking that pelvis slightly toward that 12 o'clock position, flattening that lower back. That should let you get into those abdominals. If you do need a little more support, we can take one foot down for a kickstand. Otherwise, we're going to hold ourselves up at that tabletop position, nodding the chin, float the hands up off the floor, and you're welcome to lift that head up just a little bit off the mat, pulling into those deep neck muscles. Use those muscles to hold the weight of your head up off the floor slightly. And we're going to pat those hands up and down like we're bouncing little tiny basketballs. Inhale for 2, 3, 4, 5, and exhale. We're assessing the situation here as we breathe in and out while patting those hands. If your neck is real tired, take the head back down to the floor. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, and exhale. Keeping that basketball dribbling pattern going, we could progress by straightening those legs toward the ceiling. If that chin is knotted, you're welcome to leave it up there, up off the floor. Again, we'll inhale 2, 3, 4, 5, and breathe it out. 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's flip our palms and press that air up to the ceiling, no matter whether those knees are bent, whether the head is up or down, or whether you have a kickstand on the floor. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, and exhale. Last time, inhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5. We're gonna pause with those palms facing the ceiling. Let's bring that upper body down if it's been lifted, and we're gonna bend our knees back to tabletop. Let's hold them right there. Belly stays drawn in toward the spine. We're gonna take both hands, one palm placed on the back of that opposite hand. We're gonna take those hands and press them into the thigh farthest from the screen. Give a little bit of pressure. Match your pressure that you give with your hands. Match it with your thigh. Push back on those hands. You should feel your trunk working on the side of that pressure. We're gonna take that free leg, the leg closest to the screen, and we're gonna stretch it toward the wall in front of us. Let's inhale, bend that knee back to tabletop. Keep the hands right where they are. Exhale, press and piston the leg forward. Inhale to tabletop. Exhale and press. Remember, we could always pull the other knee in a little closer to the chest if we need to take some pressure off that back. Inhale, tabletop. Exhale and press. Inhale, tabletop one final time, and we're going to switch our hands. Take those hands toward the thigh rather, closest to the screen. Give a little pressure. We'll take a big breath in. And as we exhale, our newly freed up leg is going to press toward the wall. Inhale it to the center to tabletop. Exhale and press. Inhale to tabletop. Exhale and press. Twice more. Inhale, tabletop. Exhale, press forward. Inhale to tabletop. Exhale and press it forward. We're going to take that straightened leg. We're going to lower it all the way down to the mat. Pull your bent knee into the chest. Give it a nice gentle hug. And we're going to rock that knee across the body, pulling it toward that opposite wall. As we rock that leg, we can let that hip lift up off the floor just a bit. We'll pull into those rotating muscles, into those glutes. Let's pull back to the center. We're going to hold on to that shin. Keep that knee pulled into the chest as we draw our belly back. And we lift that straight leg up off the floor, just a couple inches. Keeping the rest of the trunk nice and still. Let's take that straight leg side to side. Draw some lines on the wall in front of you. Out and in. Twice more here. Keep that belly drawn down. Exhale away from center. Inhale back to the middle. Take a big breath in. And as we breathe out, we're going to pull that stretched out leg into the chest. Give it a hug, hanging on with our hands to the shin. And let's keep the belly drawn in as we stretch that opposite leg out in front of us and lower it to the floor. Keep that quad nice and tight on that straight leg. And we can pull that bent knee across the body. And let's gently rock it toward our screen. Little rocking motions. We can let that other hip lift up off the floor a bit. Rock for 3, for 2, and for 1. We'll come right back to the middle, hang on to that shin, draw the belly down, and we'll lift our supporting leg up off the floor. And let's stretch that leg side to side. Exhale it toward the screen. Inhale back to midline. Exhale out. Inhale in. Twice more. Exhale away. Inhale center. Last time. Exhale away. Inhale center. We're going to keep that pulled in knee right hugged into the chest. Lower that straight leg down to the mat. And then we're going to switch our grip, holding on behind the thigh. Let's straighten that bent leg up to the ceiling, flexing and pointing through our foot, lengthening out through that hamstring. Point those toes, hold it right there. We're going to keep our bellies drawn down. Keep a hold of the back of that thigh. Use your arms for a little bit of support. And then keeping the tummy drawn in, we're going to lift and lower that leg that's pressed into the floor. Picture your lower abdominals initiating that motion. We know your hip flexors are doing a lot of it, but that belly can do a lot to stabilize and let you unweight that leg. Lowering the leg to the floor. We're going to keep our lifted leg right where it is and straighten those arms to the ceiling. We can always take some slack and enter it back into the system by bending that knee if you need to. We're going to anchor the hips down firmly into the mat and take that lifted leg side to side. Reach it out toward the wall and back toward the center. Draw a horizontal line on the ceiling, side to side. Don't be afraid to test the waters. If you take yourself out to the side and end up following a little bit, no big deal. We test it out. We pull ourselves back to a stable position. Let's make some circles on the ceiling. Get the sensation that you're really stirring that thigh in its socket. Let's circle the other way. Draw those circles on the ceiling. Reach those toes up to the rafters. Twice more. One more circle. Bringing those toes up to the ceiling. We'll hang on behind our thigh. Let's press that thigh down into the hands, using those hands for a bit of support. We'll bring our opposite leg up to meet that lifted leg, switch the grip, and let's lower that leg we just stretched all the way down to the mat. We could bend up that knee if we needed to for a little slack, and let's flex and point those newly lifted toes. Good. We'll point those toes to the ceiling. Keep everything right where it is. We're going to anchor that belly down to the floor, and we'll lift that straight leg up a few inches and then control it back down, initiating that lift with those lower abdominals. Lift and lower. Lift and lower. One final time. Lift those toes up, lower them to the mat. Let's take our arms to the ceiling, anchor those blades down to the floor. And again, if you need to bend your lifted knee a little bit, that's okay. Keeping those hips pointed like headlights to the ceiling, we'll take that newly lifted leg side to side, out and in. Good. See what happens if you take it maybe an inch out of your comfort zone. Might need to slow it down a little bit to do so. One more time, side to side. And let's move to our circle. Stir that thigh in its socket. Reach those toes up through the rafters. Twice more, circle. And one. Let's reach and go the other direction. Here's 4. Here's 3. 2. And 1. Hang on behind that thigh. We're going to roll our shoulders back, keeping the belly drawn down. Let's lift that other leg up toward the ceiling. Switch our grip. Extend the other leg down to the floor in front of us. Lift, grab, and switch. Keep that pattern going. If you'd like to nod the chin and lift that head, you're welcome to. We're gazing toward our knees. Lift and switch for 4, for 3, for 2, and for 1. Let's bring those legs to the ceiling, bend those knees to tabletop, curl the head and neck down if they've been lifted, and let's give those legs a little hug into the chest. We can rock side to side. Good. Let's take it back to the middle. We're going to draw the belly down, bring those knees back up to tabletop, and let's float those arms to the ceiling, breathing in. Exhale as we draw our bellies down toward the spine. Let's take the arm closest to the screen back overhead and stretch our opposite leg out in front. Inhale to the top, exhale and switch. Inhale, lift, exhale, switch. Picture a long diagonal where your fingers and toes are reaching as far away from each other as you can. Switch them up for 4, 3, 2, and 1. We'll pull them back up to tabletop with those knees, arms to the ceiling. Flex those feet just for a little change of pace for them. Keeping the belly drawn down, we're going to either take both heels down to the mat and then inhale them back to tabletop, or one at a time, alternating side to side. We're going to add some arms if we'd like to make it more challenging. Back and lift. If we have one foot going at a time, the arms go back with that lowered foot. Let's repeat here. Down and up for 4. And lift. Here's 3. Last 2. Last 1. We're going to anchor those feet into the floor. Drop those toes down as well. Let's stretch our arms back overhead as best we can. Big breath in. Exhaling, we're going to draw our chin down toward the neck. Drop our breastbone down. Drop that belly down. That might pop those hands up a little further off the floor. That's okay. We're going to turn our palms so they face the ceiling. And then picture making a snow angel. We're going to take our arms out to the sides on a T. Maybe they're on the floor. Maybe they're lifted up slightly. We're going to take the pinky side of our hands, draw them down to our trunk. As we exhale, open those arms out to the T. Inhale them up to the ceiling overhead, or up to the wall behind us, rather. Exhale them out to the side and bring them down by our trunks. One more time, snow angels. Arms come out to the T. Breathe in, take them overhead. Exhale them out to the T. And inhale them down by our sides. We're going to flip those palms over, press them into the floor. As we take our next breath out, picture your collarbones coming away from the middle of the body. We're going to stretch them out to the sides, giving that chest a little stretch. We're also going to feel those shoulder blades pressing firmly into the floor as we do so. Let's inch our heels a little closer to our bottoms, getting those shins essentially vertical or as close as we can. We're going to draw the belly in toward the spine and drive through those heels, lifting our glutes up to bridge. Press your hands down for a little bit of trunk assist. Take a big breath in at the top. Exhale, bridge it down. Release at the bottom, big breath in. Exhale, bridge it up. Let's repeat this bridge. We're gonna do a few more here at your own speed. The main thing to think about is keeping that belly drawn back and pressing through the heels to activate those glutes versus letting the thighs take over, which can sometimes lead to hamstring cramps. We're gonna hold that bridge up at the top, press down into the floor with your hands. Let's go up and down on our toes. Lift the heels and lower, lift and lower, lift and lower, lift and lower. Good. Here's 4. Keep those hips lifted. 3. Last 2. And 1. Press the heels to the floor. We're going to squeeze, pulsing those glutes to the ceiling for 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Breathe it in. Exhale, bridge it down. Release those glutes once that tailbone's on the mat. And let's rock our knees side to side for 4, for 3, for 2, and for 1. We'll take those knees back up to the ceiling, drive those heels through the floor as we lift back up into our bridge. This time, keeping those feet flat on the floor, we're going to take our knee closest to the screen and open it up out to the side. Inhale it to neutral. Exhale, open the other side. Inhale to the middle. Exhale and open. Inhale to the center. Exhale and switch. Let's repeat here for 4. Switch for 3 and 2 and 1. Let's take those knees back to the center. Breathe it in. Exhale, bridging down. Again, we'll release those glutes at the bottom. Take a big breath in. Rock those knees side to side. Exhale. Let's come right back to the middle. Breathe it in again. We'll exhale, bridging up, and let's finish our bridging series with a march. Press the heel farthest from the screen down into the mat as we raise the other leg to tabletop. Float that foot back down, press through the heel, raise the other one up. Let's alternate through our march for 8, 7, 6, 5. Keep it going. Here's 4, 3, 2, and 1. Press the feet into the floor. Take one more big breath in here. Exhale, bridging down. Release those glutes at the bottom. We're going to rock through our 12 to 6 pelvic clock positions. Keep that chin knotted. Keep that mid back pressed into the floor. We'll come back to neutral. Let's rock that pelvis from 3 to 9. Take it back to the middle. We're going to cross the leg closest to the screen over the other one. Heel to knee. Pull that other knee into the chest. Get that hip rotator a little chance to open up on the side closest to the screen as we rock the body away. We'll take one more big breath here. Exhaling, let's come right back to the middle. We'll take our feet down, uncross those legs, cross that opposite one over, and we'll pull that other knee back up into our lifted figure 4 stretch. Hold for a breath, rocking toward our screen. Exhale. Let's come back to the middle. We'll unwind those legs, give them one more hug into the chest, and then let's take our feet to the floor, take those arms back up to the ceiling, and let's reach those shoulder blades up to the ceiling, down to the mat. Only reach them as far in either direction as you can without letting your head and neck go for the ride. We want that chin to stay nice and stable. We also want that breastbone to stay nice and still. Shoulders come up and down for 4, for 3, for 2, for 1. Anchor those blades down. Straighten your legs out as best you can. See how your back feels. If you need a little bit more space between your vertebrae, you're welcome to bend up those knees a little bit. We're going to hold here with everything else staying nice and still, and let's extend our arms back overhead. Take them all the way back toward the wall behind us. We're going to drop that chin down a little further, and with the belly drawn toward the spine, let's alternate. We're going to float our legs up and down one at a time. Lift and lower, lift and lower. Picture something balanced between your 2 hip bones. You want those hip bones to stay as still as you can to keep that item from moving. Alternate those legs. Here's 4, 3, 2, and 1. Nice job. We'll take a big breath in, relaxing everything. As we exhale, let's arc our arms up to the ceiling. Take them down to the floor in front of us. Bend up those knees if they've been straight. And let's turn ourselves over to all 4s, hands and knees. If you do need a little more padding under your knees, you're welcome to take that mat and double it over. Rest it right at the top of your shins. Once we're on hands and knees with our wrists and shoulders, knees and hips lined up, we'll draw that belly in just like we did at the beginning of class and move through a few cats and cows. Curl and release. Curl to cat, release, sending that tailbone to the ceiling. One more time, curl to cat. Release to cow. Coming back to neutral, that upper body will stay nice and still. Let's wag our tail side to side. Hip to shoulder toward the screen, hip to shoulder away from the screen. Take it side to side for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Come right back to neutral. Hold it right there. And we're going to squeeze our shoulder blades together behind the back. Press them toward the floor. Squeeze together, press them forward. Do your best to keep your elbows nice and still. It's okay if there's a little bend. You just want to ensure that that bend stays the same throughout that motion. Don't feel like you have to hang out on locked elbows. It's whatever feels comfortable to you. Last 2, squeeze and press. Squeeze and press. We'll hold that press forward and let's take that hand closest to the screen, raise it up to the thigh. If you're not comfortable here, take that same hand down and we'll repeat a few more on both arms. Otherwise, we squeeze and press through that single side arm. Good. Here's 4, 3, 2, and 1. Let's switch it up. Take that other hand down. Opposite hand comes up to the thigh if you can, and we'll squeeze and press for 6, for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Let's take that hand back down. Shake them out a little bit if you need to at those wrists. And let's shift our weight toward the screen and away. Press the floor away with those hands. Press the floor away with those knees. Good. Let's make some little circles around our base of support. If you had something balanced in the small of your back, you should be able to rotate in circles without losing track of that object. Let's circle the other way. Again, press that floor away with your hands. We'll come right back over all fours and let's take that leg closest to the screen back and the opposite arm out in front. Stretch away from each other as far as you can. Switch it up. Picture something again balanced in the small of your back that you want to hold nice and still. We're working hard here as we open the arm and leg away from the middle of the body to try to counter any kind of rotational challenge that might occur. We're going to hold that next long diagonal, keep that leg where it is, switch those arms, take that free hand down, shift your weight, see if you can lift that opposite arm up. Shift, switch the arms, leg stays still. Shift and lift. It's okay. You might even just come up onto those fingertips versus lifting that arm up all the way. That's okay. We're all works in progress here. Last one. Let's take the hand back down. We'll switch our legs. Let's take that opposite leg back behind. Find your balance point. The opposite arm comes forward. And let's switch them up. Shift toward the screen. Raise the other arm. Shift away and reach. Shift and reach. Whoop. Shift and reach. One more time each. Shift and reach. Shift and reach. Let's take those hands down, take those knees down, and let's come down onto our forearms. You could always double your fists up, rest that forehead on it if you feel like you need a little more support. We're going to keep our knees bent for the first part of this sequence. We're going to take that knee closest to the screen, lift it toward the ceiling, control it to the mat. Press and lift, control it down. Here's 4. Here's 3. Feel free to modify your speed, go a little faster, a little slower than I am if it feels better for you. We're going to hold the next one up there. Keep that thigh nice and still. Now we'll straighten and bend our leg. Heel to the bottom, straighten the leg. Good. Keep it going. Here's 4. Here's 3, 2, and 1. Straighten the leg out, pulse to the ceiling, straight leg. 2 and 1. Bend the knee, flex that foot, pulse to the ceiling for 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Let's float that leg back down, shift the weight toward that screen, and we'll repeat on the opposite side. Keeping that knee bent, we'll press it up to the ceiling and lower it down. Press to the ceiling and lower, press and lower, press and lower. Let's do 2 more here. Press and lower, press and hold. Hamstring curl, straighten and bend that knee heel to the bottom. Straighten and bend. Here's 4. Here's 3. Last 2. And 1. Straighten that leg out. Pulse to the ceiling. Straight leg. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Bend that knee. Flex that foot. Pulse the heel to the ceiling. Final 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Let's take that knee down. Stay on those forearms. We're going to bring our feet together and our knees apart. Drop that bottom back toward the heels. Hold here for a big breath in. Exhaling, let's walk our hands toward that screen. Take an inhale into the side of the rib cage you're moving away from. Exhaling, we'll shift our weight, walk those hands to the other side. Hand over hand, big breath in. Exhale. Walk those hands toward the front of your mat. Holding here, we'll take a big breath in. Exhaling, let's take ourselves back up to hands and knees. One more set of cats and cows, curling and releasing. Take it back to neutral, and we're going to make our way to sitting on our mat. Let's get those feet in front of us. We're going to hang on behind our thighs like we're holding a nice round beach ball, nice softness at the elbows. Flex those feet, using that flexion to propel the body backward to a little bit of a diagonal. We're going to set those shoulders back and down just slightly. Let's see if we can take our hands out away from those legs. We're going to bring them up if you can till the arms are parallel to your thighs. Works that core a little bit more. If you need to take some pressure off, the hands can go back to knee height or even back behind those thighs for a little bit of assistance. Hold here, keep that belly drawn in. We're going to open the arm closest to the screen out to the side and then touch those fingertips down to the mat. Inhale, sweep that arm up on that diagonal to its starting position. Exhale and switch, open. Inhale up to the other arm. Exhale and open. Inhale and up. Exhale and open. We can always be up a little more vertically oriented if it feels better on your body. We're going to repeat here for 4. Take it up. Here's 3. Last 2. Good job. And 1. Let's come up tall. We're going to grab onto those shins, pull ourselves up nice and tall. Let's take our feet to the floor. Hands down by our sides. We can inch that bottom back a little bit more. We're going to keep that body up vertical. And let's see if we can lengthen those feet out in front of us. If your hamstrings are really tight, I do want you to keep your knees bent because it's more important to stay up and vertical. If you straighten your legs out and feel like you have to slouch a lot, that's not doing a whole lot for us through our core. So we can come up nice and tall with bent knees if need be. We're going to open those legs out to a narrow V, 1 foot at each of the sides of your mat. Again, straight or bent knees. And we're going to take our arms up till they're in that same narrow V that our legs are in. With that belly drawn in, hinge and bend forward from your hips. Feel that stretch through the back of the thighs. Let's inhale up tall, exhale and hinge. Inhale up tall, exhale, hinge. Good. Inhale up tall, exhale, hinge. Hold that hinge. We're going to take our hands down to our legs, wherever they end up. It might be the toes. I've got short legs. Might be your ankles. Might be your knees if your legs are long and your hamstrings are feeling a little tight today. That's okay. We're going to take that belly, draw it toward the spine a little further. We'll take our hands to the leg closest to the screen and then open that arm out to the side. Let's sweep that hand back to the center, over to the other side, and then open that other arm. Let's sweep to the leg, pull it over to the other side, opening up that arm. Good job. One more time, sweep it away. We'll open up that arm. If those knees are bent, that's okay. You're going to be doing the same thing. We'll take our hands back to those legs. Let's come up nice and tall, bring those feet together, shake out those knees a bit. And let's bend those knees up again. We're going to line our heels up with our sit bones. We'll take our hands down to the mat behind us, fingertips either pointing toward those hips or out to the sides. That's up to you. I'm going to sneeze here in a second. Excuse me. All right. Again, fingertips pointed forward or fingertips pointed out to the side. You want those elbows as straight as you can get them. And I want you to squeeze your shoulder blades together, opening up through that chest wall. Find that position that's working for you. And if you still have a little slack that you're able to take out of your system, where you're welcome to inch that bottom forward just a touch. You want to get that nice stretch through the chest, nice stretch through the front of the shoulders, and even the upper arms. The biceps are going to get a little stretch here. We're going to hold as we send our breastbone up toward where the wall and ceiling meet in front of us. Hold it there. Take a breath, feel that rib cage open up, feel that chest open up a bit, and breathe it out. We can breathe here. We're going to take 3 more deep breaths here. You're welcome to come up to a tabletop, reverse tabletop position if you want to challenge that stretch a little more. Otherwise, that bottom stays down. Big breath in. Exhale. Again, big breath in. Exhale. One final time, big breath. Breathing it out, we'll take that bottom down. Let's turn Shake out those wrists and we'll make our way up to kneeling. You're welcome again to double up that mat, give those knees a little more padding. We'll take our knees slightly apart from each other. They're going to be lined up with our hips. And let's take those arms up to the ceiling. As the fingertips reach up, drop your shoulder blades down. And just like we did in the beginning, we're going to take some tall side bends to either side, like a tree swaying in the breeze. Up and over. And up and over. Let's bring those fingertips to the ceiling. We'll take our hands to our hips and let's take one leg out to the side. Let's drop that hip down until we feel our inner thighs opening up. And we're going to hinge. Take that body forward and then bring it up tall. Take it forward. Bring it up tall. Hinge it forward. And bring it up. We'll take those arms out to the side. Big breath in. Exhale and side bend. Reach toward that floor. Opposite arm up and over. And let's take it toward that straight leg. Up and over. Reach. Maybe we unweight that foot. We'll come up and over to the other side. One final time on this leg. Reach up and over. Take it to the other side. Let's come up tall. We'll come back to our full kneeling, hands to the hips. And let's open that other leg out to the side, dropping into that inner thigh stretch. Draw that belly in, take a big breath. Exhale, hinge forward. Inhale up. Exhale, hinge. Inhale up. One final time here, hinge it forward. Bring it up tall, arms out to the side for a breath. Exhale and side bend. And take it up and over. And side bend, reach. Maybe we lift. Up and over. One final time, side bend, reach. Lift. Up and over. Let's come back to our kneeling. We'll roll those shoulders back for 4, for 3, for 2, for 1. Let's look over one shoulder. Look over the other shoulder. Take it right back to the middle, and we're going to make our way down to our side. We'll line up our heels with those sit bones. Draw that upper body down, rest it on the lower arm. We're going to lift up our waistline, keeping those muscles active in the bottom side of the core. And let's take our top hand to the floor. Everything else stays nice and still. Press into the floor, lift those knees up and down for 4, for 3, for 2, for 1. Knees come down, clamshell. Top knee presses up and down, bottom leg stays still. 3, 2, 1. Knees come down, feet themselves lift up and down. Everything else stays still. That waistline stays lifted. Last 2. Last 1. Good. Lift those feet again. Hold them there. Top knee presses up and down for 4, 3, 2, and 1. Knees and feet come down. Fire hydrant lift. Whole top leg comes up and down. Lift and lower. Last 2. Last 1. Good. Lift to hip height. Hinge the knee forward. Hinge it back with a bent knee. Hinge forward from the hip. Hinge it back. Twice more. Press. Hinge. And press. Line those 2 knees up with each other. Straighten your bottom leg. Top foot comes down. We'll take that top knee down to the floor, up to the ceiling for 4, 3, 2, and 1. Straighten that top leg out. We'll touch it down behind the body, behind that bottom leg. Take it up, touch it down in front. Back and forth. Keep that waistline lifting. Twice more. Back and forth. Lift and hold. We're going to circle forward for 4, 3, 2. Reverse. Other direction for 4, 3, 2, and 1. Hold it there. Bottom leg comes up and down to meet that top leg for 4, for 3, for 2, for 1. Take them both down. Bend up those knees. Pat that hip out. Nice job. We'll take ourselves up and over to the other side. Rest on that bottom arm. Knees are forward. Heels are lined up with those glutes. Cross that top hand into the floor and we'll lift our knees up and down for 4, 3, 2, and 1. Knees come down, clamshell, top knee up and down for 4, 3, 2, and 1. Knees come down, feet lift up and down. 3, 2. Keep that waistline lifted. 1, Hold those feet up there, top knee up and down again for 4, 3, 2, and 1. Knees and feet come down. Hold it there. Hydrant lifts, top leg up and down. 4, 3, 2, and 1. Top leg to hip height. Hinge it forward. Press that bent leg back. Hinge and press. Last 2. Last 1. Hinge it forward. Line up the front leg with the bottom, or the top leg with the bottom leg rather. Bottom leg straightens out. Toes come to that bottom knee. Take the knee down and up for 4, 3, 2, and 1. Straighten that top leg out. Touch it down behind the bottom leg. Bring it up, touch it down in front. Back and forth. Twice more. Last one. Lift up to hip height, hold it there, circle. 3, 2, reverse it. Here's 4, 3, 2, and 1. Bottom leg comes up to meet the top leg. Take that one leg down and up for 3, 2, and 1. Bring them down. Bend up your knees. Pat that hip out. Nice job. Let's turn to our backs. We'll line our heels up with our sit bones, and we're going to rock those knees toward the screen and away. Keep those shoulder blades pressed into the floor. Again, rock them toward the screen. Rock them away. Taking them back to the middle. Let's cross that leg closest to the screen over the other one. We'll pull those knees into the chest. Give them a little hug and rock that body slightly away from our top screen. Hold it there. Big breath in. Exhale. Let's unwind those legs. Opposite ankle crosses over. Pull the knee into the chest. Rock that body towards your screen. Take a big breath in. Exhale. Take it back to the middle. We're going to pull those knees and give them a hug. We'll take our feet to the floor. Let's turn ourselves over to hands and knees. We'll do one final set. 3 cat and cows. Recalibrate that core before we stand. Release. Here's 2. Release. One more time. Curl and uncurl. Coming back to the middle. Let's turn our toes under. Walk those hands back toward our feet. Once those heels are on the floor, we're going to wait until our weight's over the front of those ankle joints before we stand up tall. And let's come to the center of our mat. We'll face that screen. We're going to finish with balancing. So eventually you're going to want to have something stable nearby if you feel like you need a little assist. But for now, we're just going to stand up nice and tall with our weight right over the center of our ankle joints. And let's roll those shoulders back for 4, for 3, 2, and 1. Hands to the hips, or find something steady to hold to. We're going to stand heel to toe. Take 1 foot forward. Find your balance here. Soften up those knees a little bit. Add a little more wiggle into the system. We could challenge it further by hinging that trunk forward. You'll feel a stretch through the front leg, at the side and back of it. Hold it there. Big breath in. Press through the back leg. We'll come up nice and tall. And let's lift into our single leg balance. We're going to hold that balance. Hold here for 4, for 3, for 2, and for 1. Let's step it down. We'll take that opposite foot forward. Heel to toe, tight root stance. Soften up those knees if you can. Add the hinge forward if you can. Feel that back leg working to stabilize you. Feel that stretch through the back of that front leg. We'll push through that back leg to come up nice and tall. And let's move to our single leg balance. We'll hold. Hold for 4, for 3, for 2, and for 1. Nice job. Let's take those feet down, shake them out, shake those knees out, hands to the hips. Let's make some little circles, moving that upper body. Rotate through those hips. And we'll circle the other way. Let's come up nice and tall, softening up those knees. We'll take a big breath in, reach those arms up. Clasp the palms, press into the ceiling, and let's drop our blades to the floor. Let's finish up with a tall side bend to one corner. Inhale, arms to the ceiling. And we'll exhale those arms to the other side. Nice little side bend through that trunk. Inhale up tall. Hands come apart. Let's bring our feet together. Big breath in. Exhale into our center. Well, happy Friday, guys. We made it through another week.